Hello friends. So once again, welcome to Mechanics of Machinery lecture. So today we will be discussing or going on with the discussing the basic components of machines. Last lecture we discussed what is kinematic link and how kinematic link forms a kinematic pair or pairs, and when two or more kinematic pairs are connected to give a constrained motion, how it becomes kinematic chain, and after kinematic chain, how the kinematic chain becomes a mechanism when one of the links are fixed, and when finally how a mechanism becomes a machine that transmits torque or force. So this is the basic things what we have learned. Today we will see what is this constrained motion, because a kinematic pair becomes a kinematic chain only when it has pairs are connected pairs are connected to or pairs are connected to constitute a constrained motion. Constrained means we are constraining the movement of the links or pairs to the desired effect that we require. So what is this constrained motion? This constrained motion has a lot of importance in mechanics of machinery. So we will deal with that today. That is constrained motion. Constrained motion is nothing but desired motion. Okay. Constrained motion is nothing but desired motion. That is, we are constraining the motion to our requirement. So there are three types of constrained motion that is generally classified. First one is completely constrained. Completely constrained. Completely constrained motion. That means only one direction irrespective of nature of force. So motion is only in one direction, and irrespective of the nature of force, it only forms in one direction. So motion only happens in one direction. For first example is a common example we always quote for constrained motion is a square shaft moving inside a square hole. For example, this is a square hole, and so if a square shaft moves inside the square hole, it cannot rotate because there is edges here, isn't it? So in a side view, you can see that as, let me see, in a side view, let this be the shaft, and let this be the, and let this be that. So that is a hole. So this shaft can only move in this direction or this direction, isn't it? It cannot rotate because it is a square. If it is just round, it can rotate, but it can only move now in single direction. So it is moving only in either forward direction or in reverse direction. So this is a constrained motion. No matter how, if you even if you applied a rotating torque to this, it cannot rotate inside that square hole. So this is irrespective of the nature of force, it can only direct in one direction. Another example is piston and cylinder. Piston and cylinder only moves in reciprocating motion. So that kind of thing are known as completely constrained motion. And second one of the classification is incompletely constrained motion. Incompletely constrained means motion between two pairs takes place in more than one direction. In more than one direction. It depends upon the nature on force. Depending on nature of force. For example, you can imagine this with a simple Think that is a square rounded rod moving inside a round hole. So let a shaft be moving inside this. So a side view can be drawn as, let this be the shaft. So side view of that would be like this. So this is the shaft. So if you apply a rotating torque, because the hole is round, it will rotate, and if you apply a forward or reverse force, it will move in that direction also. So shaft can move up and down, or you can right and left, and also it can rotate. So this is an example for incompletely constrained motion. So that is not completely constrained. So square shaft moving inside a square hole, it can only reciprocate. So that is known as a completely constrained motion. And when a round shaft rotates in a round hole, it is a incompletely constrained because it can move in more than one direction, depending upon the nature of force. Nature of force. And third one would be successfully constrained motion. So consider a mechanism like this. Rather than explaining what it is, I will just show you what it is by, for example, you have a low shaft like this, and it is placed inside a bearing or a hole. So it is free to move out, and it is free to move round. But when you apply a load from below, sorry, load on top acting downwards, its motion is constrained, isn't it? So it cannot move from that position, because it will, when a load is applied, it will come to the last position, it will rest on that. But when the load is removed, it is free to move. But when load is applied, it is not free to move, its motion will be constrained. So this kind of motion is known as successfully constraining the motion. That is motion constrained, that motion is constrained or motion of kinematic pairs, motion of kinematic pairs constrained not by itself. That means there is an external agent, that is here it is a load. When load acts, the shaft is seated in this position. But when load is removed, that this shaft can move up and down or rotate. But when load is applied, it is seated in that position. So this is known as a successfully constrained motion. That means we are successfully constraining it by applying a load. So this is an example for a successfully constrained motion. So these are the three basic classifications of constrained motion. Completely constrained means it can move in only one direction, irrespective of the nature of force. Incompletely constrained means it can move in more than one direction, depending upon the nature of force. And successfully constrained means we will constrain it only when a constraining component is there. When the component is removed, it is free to move, or it is not constrained. So these are the basic ideas about constrained motion. And we have also studied what is kinematic pair. So it is worth to discuss what is kinematic pair and how the kinematic pairs are classified. So we will just deal with it. Kinematic pair. This is also important. So kinematic pairs are classified. Basically, the basic classification is according to, okay, depending upon nature of contact. This is a basic classification depending upon nature of contact. So first classification is known as lower pair. Kinematic pairs are classified when two links are connected. It means a kinematic pair when the nature of that two links, Two links will be connected, and the nature of contact between the two links we classify the kinematic pair. First one is known as lower pair. That means there would be a surface to surface contact between the two links. First example is piston, cylinder. Because we know pistons entire curved surface is in contact with the cylinder curved surface. So there is a direct surface to surface contact, and it is known as lower pair. And also you can set another example as shaft rotating inside a bearing. So shaft and bearing is another example. Shaft and bearing, that is also a surface contact. So that is lower pair. That means surface to surface contact will be there. That means it is known as lower because when you contact surface, then many of the force transmitted will be lost in friction, because there is a entire surface that is in contact, so that much more friction will be generated. So you know that is surface to surface contact. That is why it is known as lower pair. Then we have simply higher pair. In lower pairs, chances of wear and tear is more. That is the cause of calling it a lower pair. In higher pair, we have either a point contact, which is the most desirable, or a line contact. Rather than an entire surface being in contact with each other, only a point or a line is in contact. The best example would be a cam and a follower. These are the examples of that. Cam and follower. I think you all know what is cam and follower. If you remember that heat engine slab where you did the valve timing diagram, the injection is made possible by a camshaft, and cam is like a oval shape thing, and it will be touching a follower when it contact, and that contact will be a point contact or a line contact. It is least preferred the lower pair because surface contact will generate more wear and tear and more maintenance required. So point or line contact will be much desirable. Another is a wheel rolling on a surface. Even though our car wheel and example rolling on road will look like a surface contact, ideally that wheel should only touch the road at a single point of contact or a line contact only. So wheel rolling on a surface is another example of a higher pair, but rather than that you can remember cam and follower. So based on nature of contact, you can classify kinematic pairs as either lower pair or a higher pair. So that is the basic classification. So according to the nature of contact, lower pair and higher pair. And now second classification is according to the nature of relative motion between them. Nature of relative motion. That means we are discussing kinematic pairs, how they are classified. When two links are connected, it forms a pair. So according to the nature of how two links are connected, we can classify them as nature of contact. When two links are connected by surface contact, it is known as lower pair. When two links are connected by either a point or a line contact, it is known as a higher pair. Now we will discuss what is relative motion has to do with the classification. So according to the nature of relative motion, you can really guess from the name itself. First one would be sliding pair. So you can guess from the name itself, the relative motion between two will be sliding. First example would be piston and cylinder. Example is piston, cylinder. And second type of pairs are known as turning pairs. Turning pair, the best example is screw turning inside a thread. That means it will be turning inside something. And third one would be rolling pairs. Rolling pair means something will be rolling inside. Ball bearings are the best examples for rolling pairs. Okay, that is C. And then, so rolling pairs, turning pairs, and the last example would be spherical pair. Spherical pair. That is, one link is in the form of a sphere, turns inside a fixed link. Rolling means you are rolling like this in different motions. Okay, the spherical means one link is in the form of a sphere, whereas other link may not be in the form of sphere or something. So rolling pair means you can just imagine the rolling pair to be a shaft that is rolled onto a surface. For example, you have a angular surface, and if you place a shaft onto this surface, that shaft will roll like this. This is known as rolling. And spherical pair means a sphere is rotating. So rolling means only one direction it is rolling, like in clockwise or in anti-clockwise. But a spherical pair means that sphere is rotating in all the direction. That like a ball is being rolled onto a surface. That ball is not exactly going in a clockwise direction. That ball may go first in this one, then it will turn like that. So you should differentiate between a rolling pair and a spherical pair. In a spherical pair, there will be a sphere. So you are just defining that one link in the form of sphere. That is the necessary condition for calling it a spherical pair. And that turns inside a field sphere. And sphere turns or rolls inside a fixed link. So there will be some fixed link inside which the sphere will be turning, like a ball bearing, you can guess. That balls will be turning inside a casing, that is what we call it as bearing to reduce the friction. So balls are turning inside a casing. So that is forms a spherical pair. Now that is the second classification, and third classification will be according to the nature of assembly. When two links are assembled in different forms, it is classified. The first one among the assembly is closed pair. That means two links are, we are discussing the pairs, so two links are necessary. So two links are paired mechanically. Then only we can call it as a closed pair. That means we are closing it mechanically by tightening a nut or a screw around it. We are connecting those links. The second one is known as a unclosed pair. That means two links are assembled due to force, either force of gravity, that is self weight, or external force applied. That means we are not mechanically connecting them, but we are bringing the contact of two links by means of a force or a assembly. Those are the two types of nature of assembly, and the last type of classification is fourth one, that is known as nature of joint, or the type of joint. That means two links will be connected at a point, and the nature of that joint will determine the classification. First one will be binary joint. You know the word binary. Binary means two. So binary joint means two links are joined at the same point of connections. Two links joined at same point. So if this is a link and that is another link, it will be joined at a position that forms a binary, because there is only at the same point there will be two links connected. So this is known as a binary joint. and the second one would be known as ternary joint. That means three links will be connected at a point, and last one will be quaternary joint. Quaternary joint. That means more than 3 or 4 links will be connected at a point. So this is known as binary joint. That is the most common. Tertiary joints are there. That means in same joint there will be more than 3 links will be connected, and quaternary joint there will be 4 links connected. So this is basically the classification of kinematic pairs. First one, the most important one is nature of contact. According to the nature of contact, if it is a surface contact, it is a lower pair, and if it is a point or line contact, it is a higher pair. We call this lower pair because due to surface contact, lot of wear and tear will happen. So we require a maintenance of the mechanism. So that is why it is known as lower pair. But due to point or line contact, we can reduce the friction and we can reduce the wear and tear. So it is known as higher pair. So relative, next classification is according to relative motion. If two links slide with each other, then it is known as sliding pair. When two links turns on each other, it is known as turning pair. And if it is rolling, then it is known as, a difference between turning and rolling is, turning is like a screw turning inside a thread. Rolling means a shaft turning on a slanted surface. Spherical means a ball rotating in a surface. So ball is rolling means ball is actually not going in the same direction all the ways. So that is known as spherical pair. Even though this will not, even if you don't write this, only write turning, rolling and sliding pair, you will get marks. So spherical is not that much important because some textbook does not classify between rolling and spherical pairs. Some textbook only include rolling pairs and spherical pairs are included in the rolling pairs. So but in all textbooks we will see 4 classifications: sliding, turning, rolling and spherical. And according to the nature of assembly, two links when connected by a mechanical component like thread, bearing, nut or something, when two links are connected by a mechanical component, it is known as a closed pair. When two links are connected either by gravity or by some force, it is known as unclosed pair. And according to the nature of joint, according to the number of links in a joint, you can classify it as binary, tertiary or quaternary. That is known as classification of kinematic pairs. So we will conclude this session by this. So we will continue with this in the next session. Thank you.